Do prison guards knowingly put sex offenders in danger? 1000%. Now, a lot of COs have almost reverse Stockholm syndrome. They want to be like a lot of the organizations. They want to fit in. They love the violence. They love putting us in these spots where, you know, 5 seconds will cost you a life sentence. For me, it wasn't that I was this killer, shot caller, badass dude. No, I was scared and I refused to be a victim. So coming up as a youngster in the juvenile prisons to the adult prison system, I realized there are no fair ones. So wherever it happens, that's where you're gonna get cut. And I want to mind my business, but I will never, ever go to a blind spot. You know, it's going down wherever it is. I've been stabbed in my face, my sides, but that all sounds cool until you put in a cell. And I would do this for anybody else's family, for you, for anybody else. Yet when it's forced upon you, that's when shit gets real. So say you're in disciplinary confinement in Florida, I'm speaking on. They don't separate us based on race or gangs. They put us all together. So you're in a gang, oh, okay, everyone go in the gang unit. There is no real protective custody camps or shit like that. They'll put you in a little PC cell and try to figure out where they're gonna send you or put you back on the compound. They don't give a fuck if you're a chomo or whatnot. So all around you is disciplinary confinement. You got CM1, control management 1, 2, and 3, and we're locked down 24/7. We're allowed to shower 3 times a week, go to rec maybe once a month. And when I say rec, I'm talking about a tiny little dog cage. There's no air conditioning. So, you know, everything I did was to make sure that I would never be a victim, except I would go after chomos and rapists, pedophiles. That's just what I did. Because when you see them, you know, when you're actually there, it's like unbelievable that you can actually just smash one. You know, it's just, I have a lot of hatred for the system and what they've done to certain people in my family, what they're putting my family through now. However, it is what it is. I'm not gonna ever switch up my beliefs on that. Anyway, so I'm in a cell and say the officer, you know, gets word from another town or a friend or whatever, and there's a child molester or rapist from there. Well, guess what? I'm that youngster who stabbed somebody or was doing some crazy shit because I wasn't trying to be tough. I was never trying to be a victim. You get what I'm saying? So I go overboard with the violence. Going to prison, I wasn't even a real deal badass criminal. I was wild, yeah, but I didn't really start getting into some serious shit until I got into prison. And then boom, they put a chomo in your cell, a rapist in your cell. That's the most disrespectful shit imaginable. But at the same time, you know, it is what it is. You know what must be done. Because if you don't do anything, regardless of how you feel about any other politics, this is the problem in front of you right now. A lot of dudes will say they had no issues in prison, they mind their business. No, what it was is they were being extorted or they allowed a lot of disrespect. Now that's cool. You know what I mean? Some people can go home and forget about everything. But me, I'll remember something someone did to me like 5 years ago, and I'll still be planning to get them if they hurt my family. Putting a child molester in there, knowing what he did, and they really like constantly let you know. You're getting kites under the door, or you're looking at the CM thing, or someone's telling you on a cell phone through the vent. And back there, anything goes. You know, and this is the time when Chipley 5 was going on. The wardens were, you know, really broadcasting and promoting gladiator fights. And if anyone went against the grain of the organizations that were running shit, they were pretty much like getting you whacked in a cell or beat half to death. Back here, only the strong survived. And that's where the fear and being scared comes into place. So, you know, the most dangerous person is someone who's scared, you know. But they put a chomo in the cell, and it's my job to have to use the art of war. I can't make a scene. You know, I got to wait for the COs to go because it's already going to happen. You know, you just entered the lion's den, and, you know, we're not going to sit here and tussle. So if I'm going to do it, I might as well do it correctly. And if I don't do it, I'm looked at worse than the chomo. I'm looked at as the biggest piece of shit, that I support that's my friend. You know, it's even worse. Or you got hits that happen where COs will basically get in contact with certain people, or COs will contact them from certain towns and whatnot, or people will know the victims, or victims will get in contact with certain inmates and shit will happen. Other people are just ruthless and they just love violence, but they don't want to just go against the grain and attack certain people and cause a riot or get killed. So they know a free target is a chomo. And basically, they're going to get their paperwork completely destroyed. They're writing grievances. They're trying to go here, go there. But now you're in the pit of hell in Florida. You're in the panhandle. Nothing's leaving there. And they'll put them in the cell with whoever they feel is going to handle the mission. And sometimes in an organization, they'll get word from whoever they need to. And other times, someone like me will be like, thankful, because I know what they put their victims through. And, I'll do something like I'll make sure someone gets back to me and let me know for sure that this dude is what they're telling me, because these COs play dirty games. They'll spread rumors about somebody that they think, their girlfriend might have had sex with when they were in college or something. Real dirty games in there. However, we all agree about hurting these chomos. And I say about out of 20 chomos that get fucked up, some that get killed, maybe 2 of the incidents get solved. And that's because they left the officers with no choice, or you had something that just was such a big deal that that's what it was. Most of the time it gets handled internally. And you don't want to be that officer that's trying to go to bat for a chomo, because these small towns, they talk to other small towns, and somebody was hurt by this person, and they hate them, but now with technology, people are recording everything. So what they're going to do is wait for someone to get in confinement where they know they don't have a cell phone, at least most of the time. And I get in there, I know the mission, and I'm just confirming who he is, and I'm going to smash his head in. But I'm going to do it in such a diabolical way that it's not going to be a fair one. He didn't do anything fair for his victims. So that's how crazy it can be, where one incident where you had to basically show who you are as a man and not be a victim, not let anybody play with you. And it could be something so petty, something so stupid. And next thing you know, you have a knife in your hand and you have to do something. And this is just how it is in prison. And you're put in a cell, and now a child molester gets put in there, and you're going to go to work on him. And, but he didn't give his victims a chance. He tricked them. He played with their mind. So I'll wait weeks, let them think everything's cool and have everything set up the way I need to have it set up. I know that they're poisoning his food. Maybe they're not feeding him. He's getting weaker and weaker. And I'll say, hey, man, you can have some of this tray right here. And, he can start eating it. It could be covered in shit, whatever it is. Now he's sick as fuck. And yeah, you're going to learn what you should learn, what you did to those victims. It's a dirty game in there, but, anything I've ever done is not cool, man, but when it comes to the chomos and protecting these children and women from these piece of shits, I don't regret it. I don't have any qualms about it. So yes, the COs will stand by, and they'll put them on blast. I've seen them come into the dorms and open bay dorms and just slide the paperwork in there. You ain't gotta look them up. They say, hey, get rid of this dude, And inmates have all dealt with some type of system, A lot of us come from broken homes, so we understand it. And you'll see these dudes getting beat for hours. I mean, just their heads kicked in, tortured. Phones really changed the game where they're recording it. But I mean, even if you look at this video here, this dude headbutted the dude coming right in the courtroom because he had a sex charge, because it's on site all the time. They do not have a second to breathe. I just learned to be very diabolical, that, you don't always have to kill somebody, man. I understand the feelings that people have, but a lot of people talk that shit and they get put in those positions and they really don't want to do that. And, they don't even want to hurt them, because every word you say in prison, every action you do is being monitored. Everything you say will be used against you in the court of prison. So if you're tough out there in the streets, show us. Oh, you're checking in now because you don't want to hurt this chomo. Well, that's going to follow you everywhere you go. And you're just as bad as the chomo. You can't go on any yard. And certain organizations never forget many tactics. They starve them. They hurt them. They make them look like they're going suicidal. Put them in confinement. And they get theirs every single time. And if you think because one lived or something like that, Sometimes that's even worse. Stay out, stay free, us.